Okay, so welcome everyone. This session is going to be recorded, so if you have to jump before, that's not a problem. So I wanted to talk to you and maybe to hear from you about how you use AI for coding. And so it'd be coding with AI and vibe coding. I go over a bit the history of how these AI models were built and the benchmarks, and talk about vibe coding. This is I think, I don't know, is it according to Webster or one of these organizations? Vibe coding was like the word of the two words of the year of 2025. Okay, so this is like an exciting topic. Uh, okay. So, so LLMs, we know large language models are trained on the large corpora of text on data mostly on the internet, but they are also trained on code, right? So you know that a lot of codes are public on websites such as like GitHub or Stack Overflow and so on. So this line of codes are also fed into these LLMs. Coding AI also based on LLM. So we see that there are two ways to do it, right? This coding AI, either they leverage an existing LLM or they are dedicated like LLM models, right? So coding AI is used can be used to understand code or analyze code, look for bugs. It's used a lot to generate code, right? And we're going to see some example of that. Right, you can so in natural language you say this is I want you to build an app for this, and it could build it for you, at least part of it. So to bug detection and fixing, you can also fix code, can translate code, and can do the refactoring, so make code more efficient. You can also document and explain code. So you can say it's a very powerful tool. Uh, So here, this is Codex. This is like a Codex from OpenAI. This is like a coding agent from OpenAI. So you see the command. So it's called, I think it's Codex CLI. So there's command line. You say Codex refactor the dashboard components of like some component, and then this is what it does, right? It does a test. So write some unit tests, right, for some code, and then you generate tests, execute them, iterate until they pass, right? So explain what this regex does, right? So there's to transform some string. It tells you exactly what it does. So it's very powerful also to learn code and to as an assistant, right? You have the website if you want to see more. This is something that you might know, you might not know. When you read a lot of if you read a lot of papers on coding LLM, they talk about the statistics. So it's simply what you need to know. So you have this pass at one of pass at k. So pass at one means the percentage. So when they evaluate some coding AI, they give them a set of tests and see how many tests can they pass. Okay, so for instance, you say no, calculate 2 plus 2, and then you verify that it can calculate that it is 4. So the test is passed, is 5, the test fails, right? So pass at one means that when they run the test, one means that it passed the first time it takes the test. Okay. Pass at k, it means that it can do 10 tries, and if it passes once, at least once, he said that it passes. Right? So you sit the exam k times, and you get a good mark one time, you say it passes. Right? So pass at k is easier than pass at one. Okay. So probably maybe that's why at the beginning they were using a lot of like pass at k. It's very standard to use like pass at 10 or sometimes a pass at 100. So you have like you do the test 10 times. If you pass it once, you get 1 mark, right? So you see like 60% pass at 1, 80% pass at K. So this is what it means, right? Uh, there are different benchmarks. Um, I talked about benchmark first because when we talk about the models, you see that they very often document the results on this bench of their models on these benchmarks. So there are many benchmarks. So I just pick a few, like the standard that we see in the literature. MBPP, so it means mostly basic programming problems. So it's a kind of old benchmark from 2021, 2021. So it contains 974 programming tasks. These are solvable by entry-level programmers in Python, and they see if the coding AI can resolve this task. Okay. There's an extension. So usually it's done by when they do this assert, right? So they check. So you do, for those here, you say, write a pattern function to check if a given number is one less than twice its reverse. Okay. And then you give them the answer, so the test. So it should be wrong for 70, for 23, it should be correct for 73. So this is the test that it has to pass. So the AI is going to write the Python code. This is the Python code on check that it's passing the test. Okay. So here these are like recent results. So they have downloaded this results a few days ago. So in this leaderboard, for instance, you say the score is out of 1, so 91%. The top model is by NVIDIA using the open source model Llama 3.3. They have a score of 91%, etc. Okay. Another very common benchmark is the SWE benchmark. So it's like for software engineering. So it's also an evaluation framework. So this is like more recent than MBPP, some 2024. So it's also like assess this an AI model or language model in software engineering task. But it goes beyond. But it has many more problems. So like more than 2,000 software engineering problems, and that they get from GitHub. Right? GitHub is public, so they get this data from GitHub, and it's also mostly in Python. Right? So these are codes written from like 12 popular Python repositories. So like where they store code. Okay. So they try to make these problem more realistic, well, because they are written in GitHub, so it means they're not like artificial like problems that people can come up. And so they have diverse type of inputs, and they can when you have new tests, they can incorporate them in the new benchmark. After the release of that benchmark, people discovered there was like errors in there, or sometimes the tests were incorrect, right? So they come up with what they call a SWE-Bench verified, but it has been verified by humans, so it's like a smaller number of tests. They're more accurate, right? So you see when you see the results of these models, very often you see SWE-Bench, but also SWE-Bench verified. So here you can go to the website, SWE-Bench.com, and you can see the ranking, the leaderboard. So here for this test, you see that Claude for Anthropic is at the top. The GPT-5 is after, and so on. You see the percentage of problems that they solve. Okay. Historically, one of the first, I think one of the first maybe coding LLM was by OpenAI, OpenAI, or maybe some part maybe with Anthropic too, called Codex, where they build LLM focus on so generating a Python code or Python functions from what they call like docstring. Docstrings are the English description of the function, right? And they try to from the docstring try to predict the function, and they evaluate the output of Codex using unit test. And using so I mentioned this because the benchmark is mentioned a lot. We call a HumanEval. So a data set of 164 programming problems with unit test. Okay, so it is the same flavor as what we have seen before, but it was this was done 2021. And so here at the time, the Codex model performed relatively well on this benchmark. But now this benchmark is easier to beat. You know, like many languages are like at more than 90%. Right? Before you could see that they were like maybe the largest model were at 60, 60. It's probably here. So you could look at the green one, maybe they're like 30%. But at 2021, today we are maybe 90%. And there's an extension of HumanEval called HumanEval Plus, where they have been like introducing more tests, right, to make this benchmark more difficult to beat. So here these are like samples. If you go to the website, you can see sample of questions. So these are so you see the prompt, right? Be what they try to solve, and the solution and the test, right, to see if it's correct or not. Llama is also one of the earlier coding model. So it was done by Meta AI, the Meta team. So it was a series of model. I think they believe they're like open source. And the difference that they have been trained, they're not trained from scratch, right? Before the other models are trained only from code, but here at Llama they start with the model Llama 2. Right? So they start with a large language model, and they introduce more code, more way to train the model with code. So they specialize the model and they come up with code Llama. So it's a bit different. But then it becomes like a model dedicated to coding. Right? So you can look at the paper to have more details. And they have different sizes of models. Usually, the larger the model, the better it is. Okay. Here, I'm going to go quickly on this. This is like a more recent model, a Chinese model, DeepSeek. So DeepSeek Coder, that also like has also different size of model, right? 1.3 billion parameters, 33 billion parameters. So they're trained on 87 different programming languages. So it's not only Python. So you see here like Python, JavaScript, C#, TypeScript, PHP, Java, etc. And they perform pretty well as an open source model, right? And you see that the statistic pass one. LeetCode is a website to train for coding, right? When you do job interviews, usually you use LeetCode. Claude. So Claude, so you have Claude Code. So it's built on top of the Claude Sonnet 4.5 model of Anthropic, right? So it's one of the more recent model from Claude Anthropic, right? And so you can see the kind of how it ranks versus the other model. They have like an accuracy of 77 to 82%, and it's quite close to the. So there's Gemini 2.5, You might have heard that Gemini has come up with a Gemini 3 3.0, I think yesterday or today, at least very recently. And Gemini 3 is probably above these people. Okay. And I'm going to show you some. The demo will be I'll use Gemini to Gemini maybe 2.5 to do that. I'll show you some result with Claude too. Here, this is like also a leaderboard, also that compares the different model. Well, here they do an average of I think it's HumanEval Plus and MBPP Plus, right? The two benchmarks they have seen before, and and you see the pass, right? So this is the pass at one, the performance, and here the size of the different models, right? So usually the bigger the model, the higher the pass rate, and you see they're very close to 100%, right? We're like 96%, so it's getting close to be saturated. So you see the model DeepSeek, Quen is also a Chinese model, Llama 3, these are like probably focus on an open source model here. LiveCodeBench is another interesting benchmark. So when you do this test, usually we see the trend that these models tend to improve, right? So it's one reason is that the models are becoming better, right? For us, we expect Gemini 3.0 to be better than 2.5. But also there's what we say there's a benchmark contamination, that the data used to test the models have been leaked publicly somehow. Or sometimes by accident, some of these models might be trained on the code they're supposed to be tested upon. So we talk about benchmark contamination. So in this study, so that's why it's called live. So they're really careful about looking at the cutoff date, when the model was trained on the benchmark that they use. So they make sure that they evaluated on unseen test. Okay, code. This GSO is also a recent benchmark. So here the benchmark is a bit different. Here it asks if an AI model can optimize software performance, right? So they have like 122 challenging real-world optimization tasks, right? So very often it'd be to calculate faster. So usually it's for like large computation. And see can it improve the performance, right? You will like so you ask the AI to read the code and say, can you change the code to make it like more efficient, the calculation more efficient, so that it is faster. So this is a recent benchmark. It's 2025, and you see the score is very far from 100, right? So here's a bit of 7 to 15%, which is a good, right? For you want the benchmark to be difficult to beat. So example of a thing. So this is with Claude. Code generation. So like you enter like in Claude, you say create. So make a simple command line to-do list app in Python. Okay, and then it'll generate the code. Right? So I just enter that sentence in Claude, and it'll generate the code, and it will also generate the unit test. Okay, to see if the code is correct. Okay. Debugging. So here I enter like I tell Claude, so I have a Python code, so the calculator. You have a division by zero error, right? So I enter this command line, debug this calculator.py, it's a Python code, right? And you find the code, right? So you test it, find the code, the issue, and you find the fix. Okay. Refactoring. So refactoring usually it makes the code cleaner or more, it remove like common mistakes and so on. So here this is the code. So here the code, what I ask Claude, refactor user manager.py. So this code, and see, for instance, I hard code numbers and so on, which is not very good. You shouldn't do that. Right? So it will rewrite the code. So I say improve the structure, readability, and best practices. Right? So putting hard numbers like this is not best practice. Okay, so now I want to talk about the thing in fashion these days, like the vibe coding. Okay, so vibe coding was in fact introduced, at least the term introduced this year only, like in February, by Andrzej Karpathy, who is an AI researcher. He used to be head of AI research at Tesla a while back. So I read the beginning of his tweet. It's a good tweet, like in February 2nd. So he says, "There's a new kind of coding that I call vibe coding, where you fully give in to the vibes, embrace exponentials, and forget that the code even exists. It's possible because the LLMs, for instance, Cursor Composer with Sonnet, are getting too good. Also, I just talked to Composer with Super Whisper. This is probably like a speech-to-text program. So I barely even touched the keyboard. I asked for the dumbest things, like decrease the padding on the sidebar by half because I'm too lazy to find it. I accept all always. I don't read the diff anymore. When I get error message, I just copy paste them with no comment. Usually that fixes it. Okay, so he's doing the vibe coding, where you just tell the AI to do something for him, right? Like change the UI or do something and write the code, and he seems to trust the code. So it calls a vibe. So you don't go line by lines to check the code. You don't even like type the code yourself. The AI is doing it for you, right? So on the left side, so the generate code based on natural language prompts, right? So it's based on natural language. We hope that it has contextual understanding and inference, right? So for instance, I have a new UI where I say, okay, increase the size of the columns. You know what that means exactly. Right? So I don't have to say exactly what the columns are. And there's like some feedback, right? Then give you results, you give some feedbacks, it reiterate, and it refines the output. So this is what they call vibe coding. So these are, I asked Claude, in fact, some recommendation how to use vibe coding. Okay, so these are some ideas that Claude gave me. So I asked Claude, what are the best practice for vibe coding? So what it says, start with the vision or what I want, right? So don't be the end product and not necessarily the spec, right? So focus on what and why rather than the how. Right? So you don't tell the AI how to do it, but what you want. And then AI will ask you clarifying questions, okay? Because probably I mean, you can do something very original that he has never seen, but it's very likely that he has seen something similar. So he probably knows what to ask, okay? Iterate in small steps. So build incrementally rather than asking for everything at once. Test each piece before moving forward, right? And then you can adjust, by iteration. Be conversational about changes, okay? And use artifacts effectively, right? So you can, focus on one particular artifact. So it could be a code block, etc. Okay, so you do it a bit by bit, artifact by artifact. You can say leverage AI's judgment, right? So you can ask, what am I missing? How I could improve this app or this code. Uh, Best practices, probably AI is aware of like a lot of best practices. And then you can like request design improvements for make it this feel more premium. Maybe the template or the UI might looks a bit like too old or obsolete. And you can ask it to to be more to improve it. Debug together. So share error message in conversation. Describe what is not working. Right? Often it's not working. So AI can help to troubleshoot and debug a code. Right? Explore creative direction. Right? So you can ask. So the AI can explore, like other solutions or other way to solve a problem. So don't over-explain. So this is also the same thing as focus on the what and why and not the how. So no, maybe don't give like maybe too much details. This is what the AI is saying. Right? It might not be. I mean, you cannot trust AI 100%. Right? Okay. So when you use vibe coding for, let's say, production or something close to production, where you can deploy, in fact, there are stories of people, trying to, create a game and deploying within hours, right? So as an app. But when you do that, you have to be a bit, you have to be careful. So here the recommendation, start with vibe but finish with rigors, right? So you can do the vibe coding at the beginning, but at the end you have to be very like thoughtful, about the edge cases, error handling, validation, and so on. So these are security, performance, accessibility, etc. So all these things that you have to be careful. So people can say non-coders or non-professional can do things, but they can definitely do the vibe part, but the deployment, uh, we have to be a bit more thoughtful, right? So either we need expert advice, or what the environment that is given could be, Gemini and so on. They give you an environment so that you cannot make, beginners' mistakes. Okay. But from vibe coding to production is a big leap. So as you do code review on testing. So if you work in a team, you have human developers, it may be good for someone to do a code review. But it can be difficult, right? Because an AI can create, thousands of lines of code, sometimes very obscure. And you might not find someone willing to do the code review, right? In the future, probably another AI will do the code review for an AI. I think it's the only viable solution. But on testing, that you have to do. You can ask AI to run the test, the unit test for you, but I don't know if you can trust that 100%. Documentation, right? You can ask AI to write documentation and can write the documentation yourself, or at least you have to set the prompts on all the dialogues that you have with the AI. Version control, right? So you have to save the different versions, use commit the code. Set boundaries on what to vibe code. So not everything should be vibe coded, maybe, So something that is more like UI related, marketing, landing page, prototypes, or the data visualization, simple app, maybe. When you go into security, authentication, or authorization logic, payment, database, access to database, security critical feature, core business logic, and so on. You have to be very careful using vibe coding. Okay. You need human expert review when it involves money or it involves privacy, infrastructure, etc. Okay. Do it in do you see that small changes? Do it incrementally. Here, so these are like okay. The last point I just mentioned. The last point, technical debt. Technical debt management. So technical debt management that you write like a chunk of code and that's not necessarily like not very well written. And then the subsequent version of what you do, or like if you build a software that relies on that piece of code, and that piece of code cannot evolve or has issue. That is what we call like technical debt. Technical debt, right? So it means that it becomes a burden, right, on future code, right? So so the more debt, so too much debt is bad. So it means that there are like that it becomes so burdensome to the future versions of the code or software that builds on your code. And because that coding sometimes is not doesn't write because the code it produces might not be the most elegant, the most sometimes not the most efficient. So it can accumulate a lot of technical debt. It can be a nightmare later on, right? Um, yeah, safety net. Right? Safety net is also useful to have. Right? Have good backups. Um, have monitoring, alerting. Have like a staging environment. So if there's anything in production, can you can debug very quickly. Testing, right? You must be able to test the critical path or the critical function of your code. Uh, so of course, saving, committing the code and so on is important. Knowledge transfer is to make sure to document everything. Can ask AI to help. Make sure that nobody in your team is like critical like that person. The bus factor, from what I understood, is the hypothesis that they say if someone get hit by a bus, can the project continue, right? So this is what they call the bus factor. So make sure that there's no, bus hits anyone in your team, the project doesn't collapse. Okay. So a good way also to ask AI can help for that. For instance, you can say explain this code to someone who wasn't part of our conversation, right? So that they can AI is pretty good at documenting. Maybe better than humans. So I think humans don't like to document code that much. So vibe coding on security. So this from the thing we would see on the left comes from a security report where they compare the different coding platform, right? And they assess by the strengths, the security features, the limitation, optimal use case, and security considerations. So you can see you can visit the website. For instance, you have OpenAI Codex. So for instance, it's the key strengths versatile, strong comprehensions. It means that you give like instruction, it tends to understand what you want. When you use in Copilot, you can find vulnerability in the code. Limitations, it suggests all libraries, deprecated libraries. So you can use for full stack web development, complex algorithms. Um, so he has, according to these security experts, he has a weaker system level security, etc. So you can compare, right? So Claude explains pretty well. Uh, it's aware of risk. It uh, it it um, it excelled at explaining security implication, right? So it's very thought Claude seems to be very good. DeepSeek, we saw that. GitHub, Copilot. So you see like different. You might have been using some of it. Here it's just the beginning. A security issue with vibe coding. I think we are we are just at the beginning. This is just one example. What they call a slop squatting. So slop squatting is from text squatting. So text squatting means that this is when you enter URL. Let's say you do google.com, but you misspell the word, right? So you do Google, but you forgot the E, and you Google googl.com, and then I don't know. This is uh, just an example, and then maybe like a company will like have bought like the website google.com and then put some fraudulent um, some something fraudulent on that website. Right? So you go Google without the e.com, you go to like a phishing website or something like that. So it's called they call it text squatting. Right? So they squat the website that was like they have like a small variation of common website. Slope squatting is when people do they registers Python libraries that don't exist. Okay, Python libraries. So they have this repository like the PyPI, etc. So, but that this vibe coding AI, they tend to hallucinate, right? So they have like all LLMs, the coding AI also tend to hallucinate. So they might suggest in the code to okay call that library, but that library doesn't exist. Okay. But sometimes the hackers know that the library doesn't exist, and they know that that particular coding AI is often recommending that library. So what they'll do, they will like upload like a fake library that has some security issue, and then you'll be so without knowing you'll be like calling that 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 the slope library. So it can be very, 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 very dangerous. Right? You'll be running some fraudulent libraries. But it's just like one example. But you can, I mean, there's imagination is the limit, and hackers use AI too, right, to come up with ideas, right? So this is just an example, malicious packages. So there are a lot of things when so the thing is for vibe coding, because since we don't check line by line, right? We like, can trust the AI, but maybe the AI cannot be like fully trusted. Okay. So here I wanted to end with an example. So here, so this is the simplest example. So there's like so here if you go to the website of Gemini, the AI Studio, AI Gemini Studio, so you can build apps just by with one sentence. Okay. So here you have that you go to the website, you see describe your idea, and here and you can use some of the apps of Google. For instance, Nano Banana is like to it's a photo editing tool. You can add objects, you can add people on pictures, you remove backgrounds. So it's Nano Banana. You can do text to speech. You can add you can animate. You have image to videos. Is a VO3. You can add do Google search. So you can add them, right? You can add them in your window. Say, I want to use Nano Banana to build my app. There's also app gallery. So people who have used, so I don't know if these are Google apps or no, like people who are like share their apps. You can like load their apps and see how they work. Right? So for instance, you have this things in app. So you upload a picture of someone on Google and Gemini reimagines you in past decade, right? As a kid, as a teenager, and so on. So it's just I mean just an app. So you get all kind of app, and the people so you create this app just by natural language, just by with English. Okay, so I promise you a demo. So this is like you're going to see it here. I recorded it because it's so I hope you can I hope you can see it. There's no sound, right? So I just describe what I do here. So build an app. So to extract important events from a newsletter, from a report, right? So from a PDF. So your company might send you a newsletter, or the school of your kids can send you a newsletter, and you have the important dates, cocktail nights, and so on. So this is what I do. So I just enter the sentence, and now Gemini is working on it. Okay. And so you have to be a bit patient. Right? So I didn't enter one single line of code, right? I just say build an app to extract dates and events from a PDF file. Okay. So here I just like show what it has been doing. So this is like Gemini working in the background. Okay. TS, I think, is TypeScript. Used for web apps. So this is a Gemini, in fact, 3. It's Gemini 3. This is the latest one, right? So running 1 minute. And let's see. For complex programs, sometimes it can work because this is kind of simple app. Right? So you just take 1 minute. Okay. Okay. So here now I have this, and now I just need to drag the so it's a click or drag to upload PDF. So I need to upload the PDF. So the app is ready. Okay, let me go move forward. Oh. Okay, so here I put a PDF document. So here I think just like a report document from a bit from MoMA, the Museum of Modern Art. So they sent a newsletter or from their website, the different exhibits that you have at MoMA. So I have the PDF. I put the PDF in this in this. So Gemini even named the app Event Horizon, PDF timeline extractor. They're processing documents. Okay. So here you see, so these are the different dates, right? The different dates on the different events, right? So that happening at MoMA here in New York, the different film screening, member early hours and so on. Okay. So it's pretty good, right? Without any line of code. So you can go to the website. This is the easiest. Uh, Okay, so this is it, and I want to give some time. So if you have any questions, or you want to share your experience, uh, you can see that this is going to be improved, right? But you can imagine that you have like better reasoning. They have the code. There's less hallucination. They'll be able to generate code beyond text. Maybe you can take the picture of one app. Maybe I don't know if that's that today, but take a picture of one app that you like. Say, okay, can you do something similar, right? Of the same style. Maybe I like this. I have my app. Maybe I like the style of this that particular app, and you give the picture, and you can do it, and then or maybe even a video in the future. Maybe it could be some code can be like specific for a particular domain, medicine, law, finance, etc. And maybe there are better way to collaborate between AI and human researchers. So it's very useful. So conclusions, it's very useful to leverage AI, right, beyond the simple chatbot. Right? So we saw with Gemini that they build a full app, right, just in a matter of a minute. It's probably beyond that. I think it might be. This I don't know, but it's. I would say it's probably more useful for users who have some knowledge in the research domain or the domain that they want to work on, right? So they can verify the output, right? If you say build me the healthcare app, but I don't know anything about healthcare and so on, or diagnose app for medical diagnostic, but I'm not a doctor. I don't know if it's correct or not. It'd be difficult to come up with something good, right? So you need to know the output to at least you can test and verify it is what you want. It is correct, right? So there's still a limitation, hallucination, security. Security is a big issue, technical debt. And when they start to use multi-agents, so agents working with other agents and so on, so if some of the agents are not reliable, the whole system might become unreliable. Okay, but this is very promising, right? I think Another alternative, like if you are not a coding expert and you do just coding, then you have to rely on Gemini and so on to do all the tests, the professional tests for you in the background, right? That they have somehow they could certify using the expert AI that your code is secure, that your code doesn't have vulnerabilities, that using the best practice and so on. So this is also a possibility that so in fact you outsource the the production of your code to Gemini or to OpenAI and so on. This could be also an alternative. Okay, so I'm going to stop.